Annie Frank, written by Sean McCollum. Focus question. Who was Annie Frank? And what is her diary significant? Words to know. Allies, annex. Anti-Semitic decrees, despair, emigrated, Great Depression, Holocaust, Jewish, Nazis, occupiers, restrict. Table content. Into hiding. 4. Storm clouds of hate and war. 5. Under Nazi occupation. 7. Escaping during the time. 10. Caught. 12. A tragic end. 14. Glossary. 16. Into hiding. The doorbell rang in the afternoon of July 5, 1942. Anna Frank, 13-year-old, expected to be a friend. Instead, it was postponed with a letter from older sister, Margaret, telling Margaret to report for transport and work. The news shook Annie and Margaret's mom, Edith Frank. World War II had begun for almost 3 years. Germany was overrun by much of Europe. More and more. Jewish people like the Franks were being rounded up and sent to concentration. Otto Frank arrived home and reassured his daughters that no one's going to break up with the family. He had Edith and make a secret plan. Tell Annie and Margaret to pack their school bags. First thing Annie wanted her is red and green checkered diary. She had thought of beginning filling out the diary with her private thoughts. Next morning, the Franks abandoned their home in heavy rain, went to a small warehouse in the company of Otto, owned since before the German invasion, and disappeared into a secret apartment upstairs. They were going to hide more than 2 years. During that time, Annie poured her thoughts and feelings on the paper. Storm clouds of hate and war. During the World War I, 1914 to 1910, Otto Frank had been a German officer. After the war, he settled in Frankfurt, Germany. By all accounts, he was a kind, smart, hard-working man. Edith was born in a wealthy Jewish family. For meeting Otto, she worked at a family business. She married Otto in 1925 and as soon as 2 daughters. Margaret was born in 1926. Anneliese married Frank. Annie followed on June 12, 1929. Germany's defeat in World War I has brought great hardship. The country was left broken, and many Germans felt angry and desperate. Different political battles over government. Then in 1929, Great Depression hit Germany especially hard. A man named Adolf Hitler took advantage of people's desperation. Like Otto Frank, Hitler had served in World War I. However, he was anti-Semitic. He blamed German defeat on the country's Jewish people. Hitler led a group known as the Nazis. The great powers, more Germans here to them to solve their problems. In 1933, Hitler and Nazis took complete control over Germany's government. Otto and Edith Frank immediately saw the danger Hitler presented. Nazis passed more and more laws to take the property and rights of Jewish people. The couple knew they had to get a young family out of Germany before the situation gets worse. They emigrated to the Netherlands in 1933 to 1934, along with thousands of other German Jewish people. Annie was not yet 5 when her family moved to Amsterdam, the largest city in the Netherlands. Annie was outgoing and was curious about people around her. She liked school, and her days were filled with friends, ping pong parties, ice cream, and the love of her family. September 1, 1939, Nazi Germany attacked Poland. Started World War II. In May 1940, Germany invaded the Netherlands. By the end of the year, its powerful army and air force controlled most of Europe. Franks and other Jewish families escaped Nazi Germany, but now the Nazi controlled many countries, they had to escape too. During Nazi occupation, Otto Frank looked for ways to move the family to safety overseas, but every attempt was blocked or rejected. The Germany's occupations continued to restrict freedom of Amsterdam's and Jewish population with a series of anti-Jewish decrees. By 1939, Jewish people radios were confiscated, and they had obeyed a curfew. In 1940, their telephones were confiscated too. In 1940, their telephones were confiscated too. In 1941, all Jewish people over the age of 6 were forced to wear a yellow Star of David with Jew written on it. They had trained their bicycles, but they're forbidden to use trams or ride cars, even when they're home. They were forbidden to pets or leave the country. In 1942, all schools were closed to Jewish children. Many Dutch people protested took risks to protect Jewish friends, but they were often arrested and imprisoned for trying to help. Situation got worse until 4 Franks were hiding in July 1942. Herman Alfield's Otto Frank business partner soon joined the family, along with his wife, August, and their 16-year-old son, Peter. That November, dentist Fritz Spinner becomes 8 person living in their hideaway. In her diary, Annie referred to their hiding place as secret annex. The annex was livable, though cramped. It included a kitchen, bathroom, and cold running water. Each room would double as a living area as a bedroom. It was single entrance, hidden behind a bookcase. They covered all the room's windows to block any light from showing at night. Those hiding were greatly aided by their helpers. This was Annie's term for non-Jewish friends who promised to supply them with food, other things they needed. They included Miok Gies, her husband, Janet, and other friends of former employees, Otto Frank, and Herman van Pels. They risked imprisonment and execution for helping hide Jewish people. Helpers never complained, Annie wrote in her diary. Instead, they came upstairs each day with a smile, newspaper, and maybe best of all, conversation. Stepping into the diary. During the week, employees worked at the floor below their secret apartment. This forced Annie and everyone else to be perfectly silent. They had to move around, tiptoe, and whisper. No one could run water or flush the toilet if fear someone would hear them. Nazis were promising reward to anyone turning Jewish people. Annie and family caught, they would be instantly arrested. During the hours of forced silence, Annie wrote in her diary, till her family of housemates glued to old family photos. She described her feelings about growing into a young woman under grim circumstances. Many times she expressed despair and great fear that she would get caught. Chloe could fill her first diary and move to notebooks on sheets of loose paper. Writing became a way for Annie to cope with fear and boredom, shake off her cares and sorrows, share dreams of becoming a journalist or maybe an actress, pasted pictures of movie stars over the wall of her little room. When all workers were gone, Annie and others would wander downstairs but never outside, often gather around the radio to listen to broadcasts. June 1944, during welcome news, the Allies had landed a huge invasion force in France. In East, the Soviet Union were forcing Germany to retreat. Annie's father began keeping track of war's progress on a wall. The hope grew the Nazis would soon be defeated and France and friends would return to freedom. Caught. On August 4, 1944, the secret police raided the hidden apartment. To this day, no one knows for sure how the hiding place was discovered. The Franks and others could not do nothing but raise their hand at gunpoint. Police searched every corner of the secret annex. Nazi officer emptied Otto's briefcase, including Annie's writing, so he could use her briefcase to carry Frank's valuables. The Annie's diary papers were scattered on the floor. Miok Gies, one of the helpers, later gathered them and put them in a desk drawer. She had every hope of returning them to Annie after the war. In early September, the Franks were shipped to Auschwitz, a concentration camp in Poland. There was a family split up. Otto was sent to the men's camp. Edith, Annie, Margaret sent to the women's camp. Cold, tiny amount of food, back-breaking work took a terrible toll. Edith did her best to help Margaret and Annie, even giving them all food. But on November 1, the girls separated from their mother. Nazis sent Margaret and Annie to different concentration camps in Germany. The Holocaust. Hitler and the Nazis wanted to get rid of Europe of people they were said were inferior. This included Jewish, Romani, and gay people, as well as people with disabilities. First, the Nazis tried to chase out Germany's Jewish citizens by making their lives so miserable to fight the country. By 1940, they planned to become mass murderers. Jewish people were rounded up from all of Europe and sent to concentration camps, mostly in Poland and Germany. By the end of the war, the Nazis had murdered 6 million Jewish people. They also killed 5 million people from the other groups. Tragic end. Germany surrendered in May 1945, adding World War II in Europe. Soldiers who fled concentrating camps were horrified by what they found: stack of bodies and survivors who looked like living skeletons. Trainloads of children, women, and men had been killed. Otto Frank survived. He fled to Amsterdam, knowing his wife had starved to death in Auschwitz. However, he held a hope that Margaret and Annie were still alive. Soon, a friend who was seeing the girls in the camp delivered horrible news. Both Annie and Margaret had got sick and died in February 1945. Annie was just 15 years old. Neil Gist and Otto Frank, the 5 notebooks along with more than 200 loose his daughter's writing. It immediately struck at Annie's but no idea the depth of her thoughts and feeling. He said, "Book that still lives. People have been reading Annie's Frank diary for 70 years. The text have been translated in more than 60 languages. More than 30 million copies have been sold worldwide. Annie's work was adapted to an award-winning film with 2 TV miniseries. In the United States, the book has been read and taught in schools for decades. Annie's writing offers key insight in the heart and a teen caught in terrible times. A story in a timeless warning against hatred and extremism." Annie Frank, the diary of a young girl. First appeared in print in the Netherlands 2 years after the war, became bestsellers around the world. Many readers, Annie's story puts personal faith in terrors of the Holocaust. She's a young, talented writer, full of life stolen from her. Full excellent of talent potential was stolen from the world.